Why do we feel behind in life sometimes? Why do we feel behind in life sometimes? Like, what is actually going on there? Objectively, you are the only you who has ever existed. So, who's to actually say where or how or what you, this one of one, ever created? Where's this pre-written manual that you're comparing and contrasting with? And I'm asking it like that because what I find is the semantics matter. So I'm not out here trying to say you should never look within, engage. If you've seen anything on this channel, I'm big on that. But when I say the semantics matter, if that question resonates, man, why am I so behind? Behind is doing a lot of work in that question. It's a pretty strong indicator of the kind of thoughts, the kind of concepts you're meditating on. Even quite honestly, it hints at the emotional state. When you start to think, I'm behind, what message does that send? That doesn't sound like, have you heard of a lot of confident people who are behind? A lot of grounded people, people without anxiety, people in abundance, people basking in peace. Behind doesn't really go with all those other words. It's more anxiety, judgment, self condemnation, comparison, scarcity. So I'm just saying, we got to understand that some of these questions we have or thought patterns, we have to get to a place where we can observe them almost objectively, like a third party. I just find the work continues to be get to the root, not just examine the fruit. So I want to understand the root issue or reason I even process where I'm at in my journey as behind. I feel like if we can do that, that's where you can start to understand and make peace, probably with things that we have yet to confront. Because similarly, I'm starting to see that a lot of men who are labeling themselves as lazy or whatever, they're not actually lazy. You're just asleep. You're just asleep to the truth of who you are. You're kind of caught up in what a lot of other people told you was supposed to be the case. And I think they meant well. In fact, I choose to think they meant well, no matter whether they did or didn't. Because the point isn't to demonize anybody. The point is always to get clarity around the truth of who you are. Everything flows from identity, good or bad. Everything flows from identity. So if we can get clarity on the truth of who you are, then I think where you've been asleep in quite a few areas, you're going to awaken to the reality that, hey, you're built for more than what you've been doing. So instead of almost putting a ceiling on yourself where you're just in reaction mode to this agreed upon world system that's told you what its milestones look like. 20, you should do this. 30, you should do this. 40, you should do this. What if you embrace the fact that you're actually a one of one, designed with a unique set of proclivities, skill sets, talents, things that resonate with you deep down throughout the echoes of your time on this planet? What if you were to really take ownership of that? What if you were to begin a journey of developing those raw materials into skills? What if you then use those skills to serve people? And in so doing, we're able to formulate a living. And what if that living then afforded you the opportunity to be in alignment, mind, body, spirit, day in, day out, not just here and there, adjunct? And what if moving around in the majority of your time in that sort of state, well, now you're receiving clarity on the kind of things that are attracted to that you attract. And now there's clarity on the kind of things that repel against that. But reverse all the things I just said. Everything starts from getting clear on the truth of who you are. So I'm just saying all this to say we got to awaken. You'll be astounded at who you are when you stop numbing, when you embrace the tension, when you look at the fears that have maybe received safe harbor from you for maybe decades of your life. Because if we do those things and we do them seriously, we're going to find that we're not actually behind, that everything that we've endured has brought us to the moment of awakening, because the awakening brings clarity. And then with that clarity, we can move with intention. So I just want to encourage you. This thing's going to take as long as it takes. But as long as you're resolved to become the best version of yourself, nothing's wasted. As always, I don't just show up on your feed, but my aim is always to give you a lot to feed on. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one.